From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN 10 o'clock news.
Good evening and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Russ Riesinger. The final hours now of the 2020 campaign. And on this election eve, both of the presidential candidates trying to rally support behind them, particularly in battleground states that could very well decide who the next president is. Well, by this time tomorrow night, we expect to know the winners of many of the races. Here in Montana, voters have already set a record for votes cast, more than 500,000 ballots returned before Election Day. MTN Chief Political Reporter Mike Dennison tells us more about the size of this record and what it could mean for the final outcome.
As of this morning, more than 517,000 Montanans had already turned in their ballot, either by mail or in person. That surpasses the old record by about 500. So, how high will the voter turnout go? I spoke with one campaign today who said they're estimating we could have as many as 600,000 ballots cast by Tuesday night. If that's true, that's an official turnout of more than 80%. Another intriguing twist, of the people who voted so far, 15% appear to be new voters because they didn't vote in the previous 3 federal general elections. So the question becomes, who are these new voters and who are they voting for? Montana State University political scientist David Parker says it could cut 2 ways. And one way benefits Democrats, the other Republicans.
So if you're increasing from 74% of the vote total to 80%, you're getting more independents out, for sure. So if it's younger independents, that really helps Democrats. If it's just less educated voters, those without a college degree, and if they're not necessarily younger, but they might be a little older, that could help advantage Republicans.
But he says the surge in new voters, more likely than not, is coming in Montana's urban and suburban areas, which could be a plus for Democrats.
If this is a surge in places like Missoula, if it's a surge in places like Gallatin, Yellowstone, and Lewis and Clark, then that really helps. That helps Democrats.
Also, who's still left to vote? Another big batch of ballots is likely arriving in the mail today or even tomorrow at county election offices. We also have 11 counties where polls will be open tomorrow with people voting in person. That's maybe 10,000 more votes. And thousands of people are expected to show up tomorrow at county election offices like this one behind me to drop off their ballot in person or register and vote. We don't know for sure which candidates will benefit from this huge turnout, but we do know it will be one of the largest voter turnouts we've seen in Montana in a very long time. Reporting from Helena, Mike Dennison, MTN News.
All right, polls open again across the state at 7 tomorrow morning for same-day registration and voting. Officials here in Yellowstone County started counting ballots last Thursday and picked back up at 7 a.m. this morning after the weekend. County's already at a 77% turnout as of this evening. Q2's Mitch Legge joins us now with more on the turnout and how you can still cast your vote if you've been putting it off.
Inside the Montana Pavilion on the Metro Park campus in Billings, Yellowstone County voters are rushing to the polls to make their voices heard in the 2020 election. Yellowstone County has already smashed its previous voter turnout record, bringing in more than 76,000 votes as of Monday afternoon. If you haven't dropped off your ballot yet, it's too late to get it into the mail. You'll have to bring it down to a polling place in person. Compared to the 2016 presidential election, Yellowstone County has 5,000 more votes cast in 2020 as of the Monday afternoon count. If you still have your ballot, do not put it in the mail. You'll have to bring your signed and filled out ballot to one of the polling locations at either the Metro or Yellowstone County Courthouse for it to be counted. On Election Day, an additional 10 drop-off locations in Yellowstone County will open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. At the locations you see on your screen, you can only drop off a ballot. If you are still trying to register to vote, that can only be done at the Montana Pavilion on Election Day. Lines are expected to be long, so be prepared to wait in line if you still need to register to vote. Metro Park also has a drive-through ballot drop-off location in the paid parking lot north of the Montana Pavilion. You can vote without leaving your vehicle. The county elections administrator said today that there weren't many ballots arriving in the mail, which is a good sign that people are following instructions.
The mail was very light today, which is very encouraging because people are heeding our warning to actually drop off their ballots. But we've had a lot of people drop off at the courthouse, and it sounds like it's been pretty busy here too, which is good. We already broke the record on Saturday. We were over 75,000 ballots cast. So the more the merrier. Let's just see how far we can go.
I'll be stationed here at the Montana Pavilion watching those election results roll in. To keep up with the latest, stick with Q2 News on election night. Reporting in Billings, Mitch Schlage, MTN News.
All right, thank you, Mitch. Congressman Greg Gianforte's political director for his campaign for governor has been fired after a Bozeman police report shows he allegedly used his car to damage another car that was parked next to him. The report, which names Gianforte's campaign manager Daniel Duffy, was filed last Wednesday, 2 days after the incident occurred. The report said Duffy opened his car door repeatedly, struck the car parked next to him with his door, causing visible damage. Bozeman's police chief said originally both parties agreed to working things out without pressing charges, but a few days later, the family whose car was damaged decided to press charges. The family tells MTN it wasn't a matter of politics that changed their minds. Rather, they wanted to press charges because of what they call Duffy's deliberate actions. Well, in a statement from Congressman Gianforte's campaign, a spokesperson says, as soon as we first learned of this, Mr. Duffy was terminated and is no longer with the campaign. Both presidential candidates spent the day making their final pitch to swing state voters with a particular emphasis on Pennsylvania. Natalie Brand has more from Washington.
With Election Day just hours away, President Trump and Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden are still out on the campaign trail.
Tomorrow, we can end the presidency that has divided this nation.
On Monday, the two candidates fanned across 5 battleground states. The president hit 4 states with 5 rallies.
Tomorrow, we are going to win this state, and we are going to win 4 more years in the White House.
Joe Biden began the day with an unexpected stop in Cleveland. Before moving on to Pennsylvania, he was joined by Lady Gaga in Pittsburgh.
Folks, I have a feeling we're coming together for a big win tomorrow.
President Trump also stopped in the Keystone State. While in Scranton, Joe Biden's birthplace, he acknowledged that he's trailing Biden in several polls.
I have foreign leaders calling me saying, are they serious? I say, one of them called, said, I see that you're down a little bit in a poll. I said, can you believe this could happen to me?
President Trump denied a report that said he plans to declare victory if he's ahead on election night, but the president also hinted at a legal fight. On Twitter, the president referenced a recent ruling by the Supreme Court on counting mail-in ballots in Pennsylvania, claiming without evidence it will allow unchecked cheating and saying it will induce violence in the streets. Biden's running mate, Senator Kamala Harris, accused the president of trying to undermine Pennsylvania voters' confidence.
He's doing it to distract from the fact that he actually has no record to run on.
More than 97 million Americans have already voted. That's the biggest ever early vote total and nearly 2/3 of all the ballots that were cast in 2016. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Washington.
Well, Twitter flagged President Trump's tweet about Pennsylvania's mail-in ballots, adding a note that said its content, quote, might be misleading. Q2 and the MTN network of stations will provide a full night of local and national election results and coverage on several media platforms. First here on Q2, we'll begin our local coverage at 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon with a special election night newscast. At 4:30, CBS will take over national coverage. Then at 5:30 tomorrow, we begin our statewide MTN team election coverage. We'll hear from our MTN veteran political reporters, Jay Cohn and Mike Dennison. We'll also touch bases with several reporters positioned at campaign headquarters around the state. And we'll weigh in with political analysts Ashley Strong and Eric Stern, who will offer their views on how the races are unfolding. And results include a steady diet of contests scrolling on the bottom of your screen. We expect to be on the air, online, and on social media, all our streaming channels, well into Wednesday. So stay with us to watch the election unfold. All right, turning to Chief Forecaster Bob McGuire now. Bob, certainly a beautiful start to our week, but might not end up that way, huh?
Well, it's going to hold, I think, for the election, and then maybe the day after, but things change after that. Let me show you. Here's what we got. These are the temperatures tomorrow, 70 degrees, 68 degrees on Wednesday, be 68 on Thursday. By Friday, we'll roll it back to 52, and maybe some rain showers moving in on Friday afternoon and Friday night. Then look at this, down on Saturday, down to 28 degrees, 23 on Sunday. What is happening? Well, let me show you. Here's the way it's all going to play out. Here's the way we are in Montana. You notice, not too bad through the early week through Wednesday. There we are. Thursday, Thursday, maybe some cloudy skies. By Friday night, here comes some rain mixing with snow, and then it's all snow on Saturday and right on into Sunday. So how much are we talking about? Here's what the computers are saying. Maybe 1 to 2 inches by, say, Saturday morning or so, maybe around noontime. Then maybe later on that afternoon, possibly 4 to 6 inches of snow by Saturday night. So we'll probably see a little more after that on Sunday as well. But the numbers are still coming in. It's not a set in stone right now, but at least those are some numbers. We could see some heavier snow moving in this weekend. Russ?
All right, thank you, Bob. Montana surpasses 400 COVID-19 related deaths today as counties reported 11 more victims. 6 of those deaths were reported since noon. The deaths include 3 victims in Butte, Silver Bow, 2 victims in each of Yellowstone, Toole, and Missoula counties, and 1 death in each of Marr and Lake counties. The state today also reported a total of 757 new confirmed COVID cases. There are nearly 11,000 active cases across the state. Well, as voters lined up in the Metro Park Pavilion, demolition of the Metro Park grandstands continued outside this morning. Today, both sides of the roof came down, and the entire process, according to Metro Park Marketing and Sales Director Ray Massey, is now around 60 to 65% complete. Workers continue to work Monday through Friday, but they have no end date set, as much of that work is weather permitting. Still ahead on the MTN 10 o'clock news here on Q2, from boarded up windows to extra high fences, cities around the nation preparing for life immediately following Election Day. That story coming up next. And in sports, game changers from turnovers to touchdowns. We'll have the best plays from the first weekend of playoff football.